Welcome to Alternative Notions. Today, we're delving into a scientific marvel that has baffled researchers. A natural mummification occurring in just 16 days, a process that usually takes weeks or even months. What could be the driving forces behind this phenomenon? Join us as we explore some in-depth theories that aim to decipher the mystery and shed light on this extraordinary occurrence. In Sofia, Bulgaria, a man's body was discovered in an astonishing state of mummification just 16 days after he was last seen alive on August 16th. Beside the deceased lay his bag, containing his personal belongings and a bottle of alcohol. He was dressed in a t-shirt, shorts, and socks, which were identified as the same clothes he had been seen wearing before his demise. It was known that he had a history of alcohol abuse. The body was transported to the Clinic of Forensic Medicine and Deontology in Sofia for a thorough autopsy. The initial external examination revealed no signs of physical injuries. The skin exhibited a range of coloration, from pale to deep brown, and had a tough, leather-like texture. The subcutaneous fat tissue was reduced to almost entirely missing. The muscles were bright in color and dried. Tiny portions of the masses formed by internal organs were sampled for toxicology assessment, and the results showed no presence of drugs. A fragment from the right femur was collected for DNA analysis, which successfully confirmed the identity of the deceased. The exact cause of death remained uncertain. While they could not rule out the possibility of alcohol intoxication or complications related to chronic alcohol abuse, they lacked the necessary material for toxicological analysis of the internal organs to provide conclusive evidence. His brain, guts, and other organs had shriveled up into structureless masses. No traumatic injuries were found, but small round lesions indicated postmortem maggot activity. This is an incredibly rare occurrence, as natural mummification typically requires specific environmental conditions and takes up to a year. By studying the life cycle of these flies, size, and species, scientists might be able to estimate the time since death. The development stages of these maggots can provide valuable insights into when the man actually passed away. The presence of maggots suggests that the body was exposed to the environment for some time before mummification occurred. Now, let's take a closer look at the mummification process itself. Following a person's death, the decomposition process commences immediately, marked by the onset of autolysis. Autolysis involves self-digestion, where intracellular substances are released into the surrounding tissues, facilitating the growth and dispersion of internal bacterial populations. Putrefaction is a multi-phase process involving the production of gases, tissue softening, imbibition, and decay. Putrefactive generated by various bacteria, notably Clostridium welchii, Streptococci, Escherichia coli, and Proteus, begins to spread rapidly through fluids, including the venous system, leading to the discoloration of vessel walls due to hemolysis, resulting in a marbled appearance of the skin. The gases produced during decomposition emit a distinct odor, attracting various insects and animals. Their activities, combined with bacterial, enzymatic, and physical processes, result in the breakdown of complex organic body tissues into simpler inorganic compounds or elements, manifesting macroscopically as tissue softening, liquefaction, and the deterioration of internal organs. One of the frequently observed types of conservative transformations is mummification. There are also other recognized forms such as natural or artificial freezing, bog bodies, and saponification. Precocious mummification, a rapid variant of this process, is an exceedingly uncommon occurrence, particularly in cases where the usual conditions for such preservation are absent. When a body undergoes natural mummification, it typically takes several weeks to several months. This process requires extreme heat, dryness, and specific environmental conditions. However, in this case, the temperature, humidity, solar radiation, and wind speeds in Sofia did not meet these requirements. Perplexed by the enigmatic state of the discovered remains, researchers find themselves grappling with an intriguing anomaly. Natural mummification, a typically prolonged process spanning several weeks to 6 to 12 months, is known to unfold under specific climatic conditions. The conventional scenario demands environments characterized by extreme heat and aridity, where daytime temperatures consistently soar above 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and average humidity maintains a sub-50% threshold. Critical to the occurrence of natural mummification is the presence of solar radiation at approximately 600 watts per meter squared, 56 watts per square foot. Additionally, an acceleration of the process is facilitated by wind speeds reaching around 32 kilometers per hour, 20 to 30 miles per hour. These factors collectively create an environment wherein a deceased body can swiftly dry out, interrupting the decomposition process and resulting in a state of preservation. However, the circumstances surrounding the 16 days between the man's passing and the discovery of his mummified form present a perplexing departure from the expected conditions. In Sofia during this period, the temperature fluctuated between 16 and 33 degrees Celsius, 60 to 91 degrees Fahrenheit, falling outside the optimal range for natural mummification. Furthermore, relative humidity stood at 52%, and the average solar radiation recorded was a modest 257.9 watts per meter squared, 24 watts per square foot. Wind speeds, another crucial factor, were notably below the threshold required for mummification. The researchers, however, postulate an intriguing possibility: passing trains might have inadvertently contributed to creating windy conditions, potentially aiding the evaporation of fluids from the body. In essence, the climatic conditions in Sofia during the latter half of August failed to align with the prerequisites for traditional mummification. This climatic mismatch adds a layer of complexity to the perplexing puzzle of explaining how the man, in defiance of the anticipated decay, assumed a remarkably dry and leathery state. The unorthodox circumstances prompt further scrutiny and underscore the need for a nuanced exploration of factors contributing to this unusual preservation phenomenon. Let's delve into some theories as to what could have caused this astonishingly rapid mummification. Theory 1. Chronic alcohol abuse. One possibility is alcohol intoxication or complications related to chronic alcohol abuse. Reports suggest that the man had been chronically abusing alcohol, which could have affected his body's natural decomposition process. Let's take a look at the mechanics behind a theory like this. Dehydration. Chronic alcohol abuse, with its diuretic effects, can lead to persistent dehydration. Dehydration occurs when the body loses more fluids than it takes in. In this hypothetical scenario, severe and rapid dehydration could result in the reduction of water content in bodily tissues. The accelerated loss of moisture might mimic, to some extent, the desiccation seen in intentional mummification. Impact on microbial activity. Alcohol possesses antimicrobial properties, and chronic alcohol abuse may potentially influence microbial activity. Microorganisms play a crucial role in the natural decomposition of a body after death. If alcohol inhibits the activity of these microorganisms, it could slow down the usual decay processes. However, it's important to note that the natural microbial ecosystem is highly complex, and the effects of alcohol on these processes are not well documented in the context of mummification. Alteration of tissue properties. Chronic alcohol abuse can lead to significant changes in tissue health. Alcohol affects cellular structure and function, potentially altering the properties of tissues. In a hypothetical scenario, these changes might impact the normal decomposition process. The structural alterations caused by alcohol could potentially contribute to a preservation-like state, although this would be an unintended consequence of alcohol abuse rather than a deliberate mummification process. Organ dysfunction. The internal organs, particularly the liver and kidneys, can suffer severe damage due to chronic alcohol abuse. Organ dysfunction could influence metabolic activities and overall homeostasis. If these dysfunctions result in a slowing of certain metabolic processes, it might impact the timeline of natural decomposition. However, the specific mechanisms linking organ dysfunction to preservation are speculative and not well understood. Environmental factors. The environment in which an individual passes away can influence the postmortem processes. If the person happens to die in an environment conducive to desiccation, such as a dry and arid climate, it could complement the internal effects of alcohol abuse. The combination of alcohol-induced changes in the body and external environmental factors might contribute to an unusual preservation scenario. It's crucial to emphasize that these points are speculative and should be viewed as a thought experiment rather than established scientific explanations. This brings us to our next theory. Theory number 2. Environmental conditions in the train. While some don't believe the environment at the time of his death was conducive to natural rapid mummification, other researchers theorize that it did play a factor. This theory delves into the notion that the combination of reduced pressure and lower humidity might create an environment conducive to rapid mummification. The environmental conditions in Sofia during those 16 days needs to be examined. Dry air, good ventilation, solar radiation, and high temperatures can all influence the mummification process. Interestingly, Sofia's weather conditions were quite close to those conducive to mummification during that period. The researchers discovered that the location where the body was found was near a railway line, and trains passed by regularly. The body's proximity to the railway line and the movement of trains might have played a significant role. The vibrations and air currents caused by the passing trains could have created windy conditions, which, combined with the ambient temperature from solar radiation and humidity, contributed to the rapid evaporation of fluids from the body. This sudden loss of moisture could have accelerated the mummification process, causing the body to desiccate much faster than usual. Solar radiation, particularly in the form of ultraviolet light, also has antimicrobial properties. Exposure to UV light, especially UVC radiation, can inhibit the activity of microorganisms responsible for decomposition. By reducing microbial activity on and around the body, solar radiation contributes to the preservation of tissues. As we mentioned in a previous video, UVC radiation is hitting the Earth's surface contrary to the belief of many. All in all, it's heart-wrenching how seemingly ordinary factors like passing trains can become a part of such tragic events. This case underscores the somber reality of the importance of exploring every conceivable factor when investigating mysterious occurrences. However, there's just one problem. This has happened one other time in Bulgaria. This time, the precociously mummified corpse was found in the city of Plovdiv, Bulgaria. The corpse is of a 20-year-old man, seen for the last time in the late hours of September 19, 2015 in the city of Plovdiv. The corpse was found by passers-by in the morning of October 4, 2015, in a specific geographic area within the city borders called Zendam Teep Hill. Similarly to Case 1, a complete mummification of the corpse had occurred by the time it was found 16 days after the man's disappearance. And in this case, the toxicological analysis was negative for the presence of drugs and alcohol in the observed tissue samples from the corpse. Over that 16-day period, the temperature ranged between 14 degrees Celsius and 23 degrees Celsius, with relative humidity of 65% to 90% and wind speed ranging from 3 to 14 kilometers per hour. Some researchers also feel that the climate conditions were not typical for the process of mummification, which they believe requires high humidity, medium temperature amplitudes, and low ventilation. Such conditions are not typical for Bulgaria, especially in the fall. An internal examination of the corpse showed that the internal organs in the cranial, thoracic, and abdominal cavities had decayed into dried, brownish-black masses. In history, the shortest period for precocious mummification reported in the literature is 8 to 10 days. Such cases occurred in a closed environment or in an environment with specific microclimatic conditions. This process is also rarely seen in urban areas, especially outside residential areas or even near train stations. So there you have it, happening 8 years apart. Not one, but 2 cases of precocious mummification occurred within the same 16-day time period at a similar time of the year in Bulgaria. But as we delve deeper into this perplexing phenomenon, it prompts us to ask an even more profound question. Is mummification misunderstood? Are researchers underestimating the reach and impact of solar radiation, specifically UVC? The mystery unravels further as we contemplate these intriguing possibilities. All in all, this is just another alternative notion. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay tuned for more intriguing mysteries. Thanks for watching.